Hello and welcome to True Guidance Tarot. I'm Adriana Teodoro-Dier. I'm a spiritual medium and intuitive card reader. I have a message today for Scorpio. And before I drew the cards, I asked my guides and spirit for a message that would be deeply meaningful for you and also very helpful as you journey on your spiritual path this week. I'd love it if you would like and comment to this video. It's great to hear from you. It's great to support the channel that way. And please consider subscribing, because the more we can stay in touch, the more you get that consistent guidance from spirit that really helps propel you forward. So let's look at your cards. The energy around you is the High Priestess. This is a very powerful energy around you this week. I am getting the message that your soul really wants to be in communication with you. So meditation is extremely important this week because your soul will be saying things to you. Your intuition is also going to be running pretty high. I know it always is, but this is just a very strong week for your intuition. And to support that, we have the Knight of Cups with the way you respond to this energy. So you're willing to put your spiritual plans in motion, in that you're willing to keep looking deeper and deeper into yourself. And it's kind of like you're willing to keep looking for that soul's purpose that you feel is just out of reach. You feel it, you've got it in your sights, but you're just not quite, you feel like you're not quite there yet, and you're happy to rush towards it. Now, the interesting thing is that this High Priestess present says you're actually already there. This one says, no, I'm not quite, but I'm reaching for it. So there's a little bit of a disparity between where you feel you ought to be and where you actually are. So let's look at the rest of your story. We've got interesting things going on. We've got the Five of Cups, we've got the Moon in the middle, and we have got the Three of Cups. I'm sorry, they're putting more information in my head, and so I'm trying to talk and listen at the same time. I don't know how well it's going. So there's an interesting thing going on with the numbers here. So we've got 3 on this side, we've got 5 on this side. We've got 9 in the middle, which is an ending, and we had a 2 from the High Priestess. So you see, we've got 5 against 5 going on. So that's just kind of an interesting thing to think about, because we're talking about change, and 5 is the number of change. The Five of Cups really asks you to look at your relationships more positively. Look at what you gain rather than what you lose in relationships. And with this card comes regret and sadness and being unwilling to move on from where you are, because all you can see is loss. And the Moon is funny because if you see, she's holding her hand up. I don't know if the camera's focusing, but she's literally holding her hand up to the Five of Cups saying, stop it, that's an illusion. And this whole card itself talks about hallucination and illusion, that reality isn't the way it is. And what I love about the artist is that she's made this card very theatrical. There's an old-fashioned theatrical mask that the Moon is looking at. So they're talking about plays and scripts, things that aren't quite real. But yet there's the idea of your soul path being scripted already. And that's where we come to the Three of Cups. So these partnerships seem like they fell off. These relationships seem like they fell off. And you're kind of like, well, what's left? And in the Five of Cups, there's 2 cups that stay upright where the other 3 fall. And on this side, we've got the 3 cups that are upright. So these are like, we lost 3 cups, we gained 3 cups. So in losing those relationships that didn't suit you, you gain either more relationships that suit you, or you gain different parts of yourself that you didn't quite have all together. But there's just a little bit still of kind of fogginess because of that Moon energy, because the Moon energy is also talking about giving birth to yourself, the mother. So when we look at loss as something that we lose rather than something we gain, we're like stillbirth, or we're stopping the birth, we're impeding the birth of ourselves. And it's almost like these 3 are sitting in a womb. And 3 being a very spiritual number, the Holy Trinity, there's gods and goddesses that are divided into 3, depending on what mythology or religion you're looking at. So the moon is also saying to you that those losses were part of your birth. Those losses were not losses. They're just like parts of you that you don't need. They sustained you at one point, and they don't really, you don't need to be with them anymore. So we're talking about relationships, but we're also talking about the relationships as mirroring parts of yourself. In a relationship, it's not really a possession outside of you. It's a part of you that's developing, that's growing, and that's changing. And so when it's time for that relationship to slough off and be done, there's another part of you that comes out. I just repotted a succulent, and it was really interesting because one of the leaves would look like it was dying, but it was because a new plant was growing out of it. So it was feeding off of that old leaf so that it could become a new, beautiful, healthy plant. So that's literally what's going on with your soul through these relationships. It was gaining parts of itself. When that relationship was gained, when the part of your soul was gained, it was time for that relationship to slough off. And when you're at the scene of a birth, no one is sitting there lamenting the afterbirth or the placenta that is no longer needed. It just kind of comes out, right? And the nurse or the midwife takes care of it, but everyone is oohing and awing over the baby. That's what needs to be happening this week. The Three of Cups are celebration. You've got to be celebrating those parts of yourself that you found. Because those relationships dropped off, it revealed part of you. Maybe they dropped off because your power was too great and it didn't really suit the relationship to be in that relationship anymore. Maybe your intuition became so strong and the other person didn't want to acknowledge that or did not have the spiritual fortitude themselves to really stomach being in a friendship with you. So maybe they needed to drop away, but it means that it's because your intuition increased. So there's so much that you've gained on your own path and on your spiritual purpose, and the reason why you're here. And that's the cause for celebration. So they're kind of saying, look no longer. This Knight of Cups here, they're saying, look no longer, because you are here at the High Priestess. You're at this point of gain. Those two cups that were overturned, that are still upright, are upright because of your power. So the Two of Cups here, the two cups on the Five of Cups, those that you thought were lost, that's a gain because it has helped to solidify your power and your connection to the other side, your connection to your higher self, and your connection to your purpose. I'm just looking at these cards to see if there's anything else. It's also just the reminder that everything is a parody down here. Everything is almost a satire. Nothing is to be taken too seriously because this isn't our reality. Our soul exists on the other side. We are part of our soul, and that's really the only reality. Our bodies die and change. The realities around us are constantly shifting. New information comes out, new perceptions are formed. And so they're saying, you don't need to get so emotionally pent up about these relationships and these supposed losses, because the reality is the growth and the blossoming and the blooming of your soul. And sometimes we attend plays, and especially in ancient Greece, they were instructive as much as they were entertaining. We go to plays to learn something, to expand our mind. And in ancient Greece, they were teaching about what the culture believed morality was and what the value system is. So you go to these things, you go into relationships, you go into this reality to learn. And that's it. So we get caught up when we get attached to the person or the relationship or the illusion. And that's what this card is a big reminder of. All of this stuff is an illusion. The real growth is what's happening with your soul. And I think that's why it's important to meditate this week, because your soul wants to celebrate with you. It wants to commune with you, commune with you, become one, union with you in celebration. So thank you for joining me for this awesome message, because usually our souls are telling us, like, come on, you're not doing it. But this week your soul really wants to celebrate with you. So I can't wait to hear how that works and what you discover in that communion with your soul. So if you would like a little bit more depth or spiritual guidance, I do have some openings this week for readings. And you can visit trueguidancetarot.com, or you can, there's a link in the description below. I will see you next week, and have a good one.